Next morning, the first thing In feels when she wakes up is warmth. A strong, firm heat pressed against her back, an arm draped over her waist like a steel cage. Her eyes snap open. Panic rises in her throat as she realizes Jungkook is holding her. She tries to move, but his grip tightens instantly, pulling her even closer until she's practically flush against his chest. His breath is warm against the back of her neck, his deep, steady breathing telling her he's still asleep. But even in sleep, his possessiveness doesn't fade. Damn it. In carefully shifts, trying to slip out of his grasp without waking him. Just a little more, Jungkook. Groggy voice. Where do you think you're going? Her body stiffens. His voice is root with sleep, but it still carries that same dominance, that same control. Before she can answer, he suddenly flips her onto her back, caking her beneath him. His dark eyes, still heavy with sleep, lock onto hers, and In feels her breath hitch. His bare chest hovers over her, his toned muscles flexing slightly as he props himself up on one arm. Jungkook, low voice, running away already, wife. In glares at him, refusing to acknowledge the way her heart is racing. She pushes against his chest, but he doesn't budge. Ain't let me go. Jungkook tilts his head, a smirk playing on his lips. Jungkook, I don't remember saying you could leave the bed. In clenches, her jaw, frustration boiling inside her. But then, her stomach betrays her. A loud growl echoes in the silent room. Her face burns with embarrassment as Jungkook blinks at her before he bursts out laughing. The deep, rich sound fills the room, surprising In. It's the first time she's heard him let not a cruel chuckle, not a mocking smirk, but a genuine, amused laugh. And for some reason, it makes her chest tighten. Jungkook, still laughing. You're glaring at me like you want to kill me, but your stomach is telling a different story. In groans, shoving at his chest again. In shut up, just let me eat. Jungkook finally leans back, giving her space to sit up. His smirk is still there, but his eyes hold something else, something softer. Something dangerous. Jungkook, fine. Get dressed, now you'll have breakfast with me. In scolds, crossing her arms. And if I don't want to? Jungkook's smirk vanishes. His expression darkens slightly, his voice dropping to a low warning tone. Jungkook, then you will starve. In stares at him, her stomach twisting not just in hunger, but in frustration. She realizes something at that moment. She may be his wife, but Jungkook is determined to make sure she never forgets who is in control. Time skip. In sits at the long dining table, arms crossed as she stares at the plate of food in front of her. The meal is extravagant fluffy pancakes, eggs cooked to perfection, fresh fruit. Yet, she has no appetite. Not when Jungkook is sitting right across from her, sipping his black coffee as if this is completely normal. As if he didn't just trap her in bed minutes ago. He grips her fork tightly, stabbing at her pancakes with unnecessary force. Jungkook, are you always this violent with your food? In glares at him, shoving a bite into her mouth just so she doesn't have to answer. Jungkook watches her with amusement, but there's something else lurking in his gaze, something unreadable. For a moment, silence fills the space between them. Then Jungkook, you will be attending a charity gala with me tonight. In pauses mid-bite, she slowly puts her fork down, narrowing her eyes at him. Ew. Excuse me, Jungkook, you're my wife now. People will expect to see you by my side. And if I don't want to go, Jungkook leans forward, resting his elbows on the table. His dark gaze locked onto hers, his voice dripping with quiet authority. Jungkook, then I'll carry you there myself. In's fingers tighten around the edge of the table. She hates how easily he controls everything, how effortlessly he bends situations to his will. But she knows she doesn't have a choice. Not yet. Taking a deep breath, she forces herself to meet his gaze head on. In fine. I'll go. Jungkook's smirk returns, satisfied. Jungkook. Good girl. In grits her teeth. If he thinks she'll be the obedient wife he wants, he's wrong. Because if Jungkook is playing a game, then so will she. The gala is a dazzling spectacle, glimmering chandeliers, classical music, and a sea of elegantly dressed elites whispering behind expensive champagne glasses. In stands at the entrance, feeling suffocated by the overwhelming extravagance. Jungkook, on the other hand, fits in effortlessly. Dressed in a black tailored suit, his presence is commanding. Every eye in the room seems to be drawn to him, yet his hand remains firmly wrapped around In's waist, ensuring that everyone knows she belongs to him. In wants to rip his hand away, but she knows better. Instead, she keeps her posture straight, refusing to let him see how nervous she really is. Jungkook leaning in, whispering, "You look beautiful tonight," In stiffens as his breath fans against her skin. His voice is low, intimate, too intimate. In sarcastic, "And you look just as terrifying as always." Jungkook chuckles, seemingly amused, but before he can reply, a woman approaches them, a stunning beauty in a sleek red dress. Her lips curl into a smirk as she stops in front of them. Jungkook, it's been a while. In watches as Jungkook's jaw clenches slightly. Whoever this woman is, she clearly knows him well, and the way she's looking at him like she's an intruder makes his stomach twist uncomfortably. Jungkook, Minji, so that's her name. Minji smirking. "I didn't expect to see you here with a wife, no less." Her eyes flicker too and full of judgment. He doesn't miss the way she emphasizes the word. "Wife easy, it's a joke. Minji, I always thought you weren't the type to settle down." Jungkook, coldly, things change. Minji hums, her gaze lingering on him a little too long, and suddenly feels like an outsider in her own marriage. But before she can dwell on the feeling, Minji turns back to her with a fake smile. "Minji, tell me, dear, how does it feel to be married to the devil?" The question is laced with venom, but in doesn't flinch. Instead, she lifts her chin slightly, meeting Minji's gaze head on. In calmly, "It's not so bad." A smirk tugs at her lips as she turns to Jungkook, placing a hand on his chest in a show of possession. And after all, the devil only bows to his queen. A flicker of surprise crosses Jungkook's face, but it's quickly replaced with something darker, something almost proud. Minji's smile falters for just a second before she forces a laugh. "Minji, well then, I wish you luck. You'll need it." She turns and walks away, leaving him standing there with her heart pounding. She knows she just stepped into a dangerous game, but she refuses to let anyone, especially Jungkook, see her as weak. But before she can move, she suddenly feels herself being pulled. Jungkook grabs her wrist and drags her into a secluded hallway, pressing her against the wall. His dark gaze burns into hers, his hands caging her in. Jungkook, low, amused. "You like playing with fire, don't you?" In smirks despite the rapid beating of her heart. "And I figured I might as well start acting like your wife." A dangerous glint flashes in Jungkook's eyes, and before she can reach, his lips crash onto hers. It's not a soft kiss. It's rough, demanding, claiming. His fingers tighten on her waist, pulling her impossibly close, and then feels herself drowning in the intensity of it. He tastes of danger, of dominance, of something she can't quite name but knows is entirely Jungkook. She gasps against his lips, and that's all the invitation he needs to deepen the case, his tongue teasing against hers. The heat between them is suffocating, and for a moment he forgets everything who he is, what he's done. All she knows is that she's burning under his touch. But just as suddenly as he kissed her, he pulls away, leaving her breathless. He smirks, brushing his thumb across her swollen lips. Jungkook, husky voice, "Careful, wife. Keep this up, and I might actually start enjoying our marriage." In glares at him, forcing herself to ignore the way her body is still reacting to his touch. "Don't flatter yourself." Jungkook chuckles darkly, stepping back but not before whispering, "Jungkook, oh, I don't need to. You just did it for me." In's fists clench as he walks away, leaving her alone in the hallway, her lips tingling from his kiss and her heart pounding in her chest. She may have won the battle against Minji, but against Jungkook, she isn't so sure.